All right. Well, why don't we get started?
All right.
Cool. Well, welcome everybody to the Barney Miller's Tech and Design Facebook Live event. Tonight's topic is home audio and interior design with Leon Speakers. We're so excited. Tonight's going to be an amazing conversation. I'm Risa Schultz. I'm joined by Allison Lopez with WeConekt, and we're going to be moderating tonight's conversation. And I'm going to ask each of our panel members to introduce yourselves. Tell us your name, your company, a little bit about yourself. Barney, why don't you go first?
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Barney Miller. I'm the president and owner of Barney Millers Incorporated, the third generation. This June 19th will be 99 years old on Main Street in Lexington. We do all kinds of electronic systems and really proud to partner with Leon Speakers and Noah, and just a great company for us to partner with. And so happy to have him on our event tonight.
Thanks so much, Barney. I appreciate that.
And Noah, why don't you tell us a little
Oh,
bit?
you want me to go now? Well,
Yeah,
hi, Risa. Hey, Allison. Hey, Barney. So good to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Noah Kaplan, the founder and president of Leon Speakers. We are completely happy to be on the show and to build stuff for Barney's showroom. We mostly specialize in sound and style. So, anything that is bespoke or custom, we like to add the audio, add the vibe to your space. So super excited to talk to you guys tonight.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight, Barney and Noah. If you're watching at home and you have questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the chat and we'll try to get to those at the end of the conversation. So let's get started. Barney, as you just said, you're about to celebrate a century in business, right? You've been in business for 99 years. So over the years, you've worked with many home audio speaker companies. Tell us a little bit about why you've now chosen to work with Leon Speakers.
Yeah, as Barney Millers has evolved from a retail company into a custom installation company and beyond, we've really understood that customers, our client base, wants customization, and our proposals are customized for each customer, and our products are now starting to be customized for each customer. So Noah's company at Leon, they can customize about anything you can imagine as far as speakers are concerned. So not only do they have great sound, but they've got a great look to them, and it blends in with the interior design. So it's really a cool fit for our company, and we're very excited to partner with them. And we see really great potential growth with Leon Speakers and Barney Millers.
Thank you, Barney.
Great.
So Noah, that was a great introduction from Barney.
He did.
How you started this company? Where did you get the idea to start Leon Speakers?
Well, first of all, I got to say 99 years. Congrats, Barney. That's amazing by all means. And I love how you continue to evolve the way you think. So appreciate you for that. Leon Speakers started over 20 years ago. I was super young. My normal life, I'm a fine artist, a painter and a sculptor. And as a painter and a sculptor, I always use music as sort of a battery to propel me forward, because I'm a born extrovert. So I always need something to keep me company, right? So music was always a super important part of how I work. Because when you're working on paintings, when you're working on drawings, you could be alone for 6 to 8 hours, but you're never alone if you have music around you. So I really got invested not only in listening to music, but playing music. So by day I was painting and creating pieces, and by night I got into playing music. And during that time we started building studios, and right after college we not only built a studio, but we built a pirate radio station. So yeah, we had an antenna off the top of our house. We broadcasted, and we started to, in the recording studio, realize that we really liked not only playback and design, but we really liked to think about the way things looked. So when I was working with the acoustic guys, who are also, a whole team of us, we had musicians, we had artists, we had engineers, we met some amazing people from different colleges, and we started designing things. And one of them was a studio monitor. And when we started designing studio monitors, we started to look around the world, and I personally started noticing that things really weren't super exciting to look at. there was a lot of like, when you guys think of speakers, what do you think of when you like close your eyes?
When I think of like a brand of
Or
speakers,
just a speaker, like what do you see in your mind when you think of a speaker?
I see a big,
Right.
you know,
The big box. Like what, growing up when my brother had his stereo system and he had the big speakers in the room, that's what I picture.
yeah,
Yeah,
equipment.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
big black boxes. So like, I just from a design standpoint, because I think I was always looking from like an artistic angle, like what's the materiality of the speaker? What is it made of? So I was as interested in, the materials we were building speakers out of as much as I was the technology. So really from the beginning, I think that the philosophy, the vision of Leon has always kind of been the same, which is to look at sound through an artistic lens. Right. And the vision of Leon, like when you start a business, you don't really have a philosophy or just like, at least when you're 21 years old, you don't have much of, we were just like, we are going to make things with blood, sweat, and speakers,
That's
Yeah. And so as musicians, we had so much fun at night, just like building stuff together, designing stuff. And it was really cool to just control and think about how we're going to listen back to the music we're recording. Right. So when you're playing music, you have a really good feel for like what you're going to be listening back to. It's like you can think of it as a whole circular signal path. And so over the years, the philosophy of Leon kind of morphed from being an art studio, a group of people that were completely invested in just think about how music is made, how music is recorded, and how it looks, to where we are now, which is like, how do we put it in someone's house and make it be a part of their design vision? And so the philosophy has always been to mix art with audio and design with technology. And because we are still artists and musicians to this day, like most of the people here are still deeply invested in the arts. And so we also think about how we mix business with bohemia. And what that means to us is, how do we create and immerse ourselves in an artistic lifestyle even to this day? Because we're still the same people,
Yeah.
and
And
yeah.
our understanding is that you've taken it to a whole other level. You actually have a lounge to
Mm,
continue this culture at your
yeah.
headquarters.
Yeah.
That's very unusual. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, when we first started the business, I had an art gallery, and at Lee, I was a partial owner in both businesses. I was Noah from Noah's Underground Gallery, and I was a partial owner of Leon Speakers, and we combined those two things, and so that's where we actually all gathered as artists and engineers and and musicians. We would use that place originally as like our studio where we practiced, we had shows, we recorded like in the actual business. And I really feel like over the years, as things really expanded, we kept moving to bigger factories, bigger places. And there were times when we were in factories and I was working like building factories, which is something I never expected as an artist and an industrial design person. Like driving a forklift was not something I saw in my future, right? Or cutting on like gigantic machines and saws. So I think the coolest part was really when we got to the factory we're in now. It was big enough where we could really start rethinking about who we are, what we want to do, and how we can get back to really like engaging back in the artistic culture. So we built a live performance center right on the top floor of our manufacturing and HQ. So, we have a sick little venue called Leon Loft. And through the years, we partnered with a company called Acoustic Cafe, my friend Rob Reinhardt, who does a national show. And we bring artists in, we record artists, we help promote artists, we build speakers for artists. But also that's where we all get to jam and play and meet and collaborate. And so to us right now, not only meeting with musicians, but a lot of time we're meeting with architects, and a lot of times I'm spending time with Barney and his customers and, trying to walk them through their spaces and what we're doing. And so I feel like the more you stay in it and the more you stay like kind of close to the fire in terms of relevancy, knowing about design, knowing about music, know about the current art scene, the easier it is to talk to interior designers, architects, engineers about like, hey, what's going on today? So yeah, the lounge, the loft, whatever you want to call it. If you check out
We love
Leon,
it.
Yeah,
We love
lots of artists have been through it.
We can't wait to visit.
I definitely want you guys to visit.
Yes,
We're all far apart today, but soon we'll be close together. Right?
That's right.
yes, yes. So, in looking at your lineup and on your website and knowing a little bit about your company and what you do, there's an assortment of products. So Risa has some photography, some images here that we want, to kind of give us a tour through and
Sure.
show us the different categories that Leon speakers cover today.
So
Yeah, and we did a lot of these, which was cool. We did a lot with Barney in his space. So,
Mhm.
oh,
Yes.
nice. All right, let's see what you got here.
okay, can you see?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, there you go.
So if you
Oh,
want to
cool.
tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here, if you want to start maybe in the top corner and then.
Yeah, actually, this was a really cool project we just completed in Brooklyn. We worked with someone who everybody might know. We worked with Adrian Grenier, Vinny Chase from Entourage. I don't know if you
Love that
remember.
show.
Yeah, but he's super interested in design and sustainability. So we worked with him and an integrator out there to kind of like work on a house that he was building and designing with it for his mother in Brooklyn in a really cool neighborhood. So a lot of the products and materials we used in this space, number one, we want them to really blend in with the design and sometimes stand out a little bit. But number two, we built a lot of these speakers out of reclaimed and recycled materials. So, the speakers you see like right next to it. So in the first slide, if you go back a little bit, yeah, in that there's just a simple in-ceiling speaker. So we just put music, and we like to think about like there's some spaces where it's just ambient music and some spaces where it's like the focal point of the space. So if you look at the space next to it with the blue rug and that really beautiful kind of not ottoman in the middle, you're looking at an edge media frame, which is a way again to not only just think about how to add sound to your screen, but also how to add a little bit of authenticity in terms of the material. So that wood is actually reclaimed wood. That's reclaimed from like Detroit urban areas. And so you could bring, and so the subwoofers underneath are also bespoke to match that same frame. And so when you think about putting a TV in a space, we don't just like to like hang a TV on a wall. We
Right.
think of, right, a TV is like a window to the world. And when you think
Yeah.
about a TV, we call these like television treatments. How are you going to make it look like it's part of the space? And we did a lot of that in Barney's showroom as well. And sometimes, again, you want the speakers to stand out. Sometimes you don't. But music, movies, definitely for Adrian Grenier, a big part of his culture is film and TV. So we wanted to make that like an insanely high-end room. So you can't really see it, but there's actually 7 channels of speakers in there. It's a full scale, we call living space theater. And it's also a multi-use room. So like you could kind of switch it over to just a listening room. And then if you look around the rest of the house, there's other elements where some people wouldn't always put speakers in a main living space, but because music's really important to him and his mother, we kind of put speakers that were custom made even in the main living space next to that fireplace. So they're built to a custom size, again, made of reclaimed materials, and just try to add a little bit of pop to the space.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen speakers that tall and slim. They're really like, it really looks like a piece of art. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's like the thing is sometimes you like with design, one of the hardest things to describe about design is that sometimes you're complementing a space, you're not matching a space. And sometimes the object, is an object of art, and sometimes it's just an object that you want to kind of blend in. And that's kind of the mission of Leon. We call it balance by design. So how do you balance these kind of things? But to me, because music's so important, I think you want like your speaker, your sound system be something that you actually kind of show off sometimes, right?
Mhm.
Now, if it's not cool, if it's something you buy off the shelf and it's made of plastic, maybe it doesn't fit in a bespoke home, right, Barney? Your customers, it's
Exactly.
like, yeah, you're building a custom home. You're picking everything from the drapes, the blinds, the carpets, the rugs, the countertops. And so we think like, hey, if you want to have that kind of elemental design, like, of course you want something that's not off the shelf when it comes to sound. So yeah,
Correct.
Allison, yeah. So yeah, there's lots of stuff we could look at, and then other things they blend in, little
Yeah,
in-wall
I
speakers. Yeah.
also like the way on the TV, getting back to the TV, how it's framed out and the bar is like the same length as the TV and it's all framed together. It just looks like a piece of art.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's again part of that little, like adding a little bit of style to the screen. It just takes away from making it look like kind of like an appliance.
Yes.
Right? Like early TVs, you go back in history, TVs used to be like the focal point of the home, but they were really interesting looking.
Right.
They were built into the furniture. Like you look at Scandinavian design or mid-century
Yes.
design.
Right.
They were like kind of interesting objects in themselves. And we're kind of just like looking back into the history and trying to push a little bit of that aesthetic into the foreground of today.
Love it.
Right.
So this picture over here is, when you were talking about kind of hide, like you either want the speakers noticeable or you want them hidden. Like here's in-wall speakers that you're doing also where they're kind of blending
Into the wall.
into the walls.
Yeah, when you want the art to stand out, we'll custom paint the grills. We'll do simple treatments to the grills. Sometimes we'll use fabrics, but I love working with like interior designers because there's so many materials going on in a house. And like, so, what are we going to use materials wise to like pull out of the design to make it stand out? Or like in this case, to make it stand in, because the art right there is really the focal point.
Right.
Right. So that's like what we want.
So do designers send you, like if they're using a certain fabric, like do you have the capability of taking like a special fabric that they're using on drapes or whatever and put it on the speakers?
Yeah. Oh my God. We worked with some like really intense designers, like Thomas O'Brien. He loves using fabrics. It was in New York City, like makeover apartment. Everything was wrapped in custom fabrics. And like we were lining up little teeny parts of like little designs, like trying to line it up on the wall. And right now we're designing like not only with fabric, but like the speaker we're designing right now has python skin as on the surface of the speaker.
Mhm.
So
So Leon Speakers, the company, you all have a process in place to allow people to do that level of customization. That's incredible.
thank you. Yeah, it's cool to like, it's everybody that works at Leon, you kind of have to be like our main core value. When people talk about core values of a business,
Yeah.
our main core value spells the word cordial, and the C stands for creativity. So like our number one core value is really creativity. And what I love about this industry, when I'm working with Barney on this last project, there's an openness about like accepting change and being able to think differently. And that's why I like this industry. I think we're in a really creative industry. So a lot of the account reps and designers here, they're all artists too. So they're able to work with all the contractors around the world, kind of understand the design vision that we're working with, and then try to deliver back something that's, normal or like something they could see, a visual, like, oh, here's a picture of that. A lot of times you'll see I always have a notebook on my desk. And really a lot of times I'm literally just drawing pictures of like, what are we talking about? And so half the times I could close a deal just by drawing a picture, like, are we talking about this? And then it'll go up to engineering after we really figure out what it is, what kind of materials, what's the vibe of the house, mid-century house, traditional, modernist, whatever it is, like we want to be able to blend in with kind of any style that you have.
Perfect. So I'm going to flip to the next slide really quickly because it's been wanting to be shown and
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what we're seeing on this slide.
Barney, you want to talk us through some of these? You recognize these.
Yeah, well, the top left one is our frame bar. So we've got the famous Samsung Frame TV, which has been an incredibly hot product for us. The problem is it has terrible sound. So with Leon, they've made a matching speaker. So the bezel on that TV can be multiple colors, and they can actually correct or match the bezel of that speaker with the TV itself. So it matches just so perfectly. And we think that's going to be a real hot product for us. And again, you can be black, brown, white, whatever, and they can do it. I mean, it's an amazing company that can do about anything. I think the other two pictures are from Leon, so I'll let Noah maybe touch
Yeah.
on those.
So yeah, so like Barney said, the Samsung frame, what's really cool about that product is it solved a problem that I thought about forever. It's just like, I hate the black window that a TV leaves on your wall. You know, you're talking about like, you have all this beautiful art and all these beautiful objects and fabrics all over your living room, and then you put up a 75-inch black window in the middle of it. It kind of like sucks all the life out of it. So with the Samsung frame, you know, you could put your own artwork on there. And so we wanted to kind of match the style with a Scandinavian style design. You know, you could choose the fabrics, you could choose the frame. And so we want people to also to understand that it's cool to have a speaker. You know, you could have art and a speaker. Like the frame does look like art, but it's actually still a TV. So we wanted to say like, hey, look, so we call it frame bar, like this is made for the Samsung frame, but really we're trying to show also that you could add to the style of your house with this object. When you look around the rest of the room, you'll see in the middle, that's part of a company that we run as well called Media Decor. And Media Decor, I've been working with this business forever, and it was out of Florida. Media Decor is a company that really specialized in concealing televisions and TVs with art. And so I met them as an artist doing a custom piece of art to conceal a TV. And we developed a friendship over the years. And about 5 or 6 years ago, we kind of merged the companies together. And it's been really cool to kind of merge their ethos with ours. But what I love about the word media decor is it kind of describes what we do at Leon. We call it tech decor or media decor. It's like, you know, making sure that the technology you bring into your house is thoughtful, you know, that it's coming to the house, it's not interrupting your design, it's becoming part of the design. So like sometimes you want to make that TV go away, because if you look at that view outside, you know what I want to see most of the time? I want to see the view to the water. That's why that real estate is valuable. You don't want to see a TV on. So in that case, we have moving art, you know, and that's a piece of art that is motorized so that when you turn on the TV, it raises up to reveal the TV, and it actually conceals it when it's off. So, you know, you see the art and you focus on the view when the TV's off. And when you're watching a show with the fam, you know, you could raise it up and watch the show, make it go away, because it's not like we're always watching TV, especially at vacation homes. A lot of times people want to conceal them completely. So a lot of those products that have evolved over the years are about making TVs feel more like they're part of a house and not like an intrusion on the house. So if you look around the rest of it, you know, you'll see a boardroom with a little camera in the middle of that speaker. So to jump around a bit, even the camera and the TV in a boardroom, it's still just people in the boardroom ultimately, right? And we all think about design. Most people have a really easy time saying like, oh, that's a good design, or that's the language that everybody understands. And so in that case, we take a TV, even in a boardroom setting, and say, how can we make this look like it's part of the design? So that TV has a speaker under it. It has a camera in the middle. And so today, when we're all like kind of doing this, a lot of what we're doing is trying to make it cool again to talk to each other when we're on screen. Right? We
Right.
want to, and that's Barney. We want to talk about lighting. We want to talk like it's just as important to have great light as it is to have great sound. And so a lot of times I think about sound and light in the same way. Right? Light is like sound. It's part of the ambiance, it's part of the vibe. And if they're both good, you know, you have a better feeling about what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of times, um, I mean, we can think of these, speakers and TVs. I mean, it's electronics, right? And
Yeah.
it's kind of hard, as you said, the TV's a black box, and who wants to stare into that? And most people probably don't even realize it, but they would feel better if it was covered with a piece of art. They might not think of it, because everybody's grown accustomed to seeing electronics around.
Yeah.
But you know, if it's hidden and if it's beautifully presented, it does something to you psychologically. I mean, if you're in a beautiful space,
Mhm.
and you're working in a beautiful space, there's a big difference in if you're working in a space that's not so great, you know, that's maybe crowded or
Yeah.
you know, everywhere is chaotic, you know. So I think design is very important, and the way it's relating. I love what you all are doing at Leon Speakers, how you're relating it to back to electronics, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, they
Um,
don't, electronics today don't fit that well in terms of like decor, right? The vibe
doesn't
isn't there. You know, like you
no,
buy something off the shelf and it's going to be plastic or black. There's not a lot of things in a custom home that are going to be like, you know, plastic and glossy,
right,
right?
right.
And so I think you have to be able to customize it. And when, you know, the year 2021, like technology is part of such a main part of our worlds. You know, the
It's
average, yeah, the
it's
average American
everywhere.
spends 32 hours a week in front of a TV screen. And now with computers, it's more. We're spending more time. And so like I'm working right now. I'll tell you about it another time, but like, yeah, the computer that we're looking at now, I'm working on ways to make even the computer you look at all day way different.
Oh
Like,
wow.
I would
yeah,
love
like, yeah, like I
That's
think computers need help. They have been the same for so long. And it's the same way I see TV. And I think that at Leon, what's cool about the people here are like, we want to look at technology differently. And we want you to experience it in a different way. So to your point, Allison, when you have design that's working or balanced, it makes you feel different. It's
yeah.
not like it's right. It's not no, it's like a vibe. It's not like a cognizant every second kind of thought. It's just a
Yeah.
feeling.
and it's
I was telling my friend today on our walk. I walk every day with
That's a good
a
thing.
I know. And I was telling her, you know, about your company, about Leon Speakers, and she said, "Oh my God." She goes, you know, she has a friend that has a big white Sonos box
Oh yeah.
in their living room, and the house is you know, a $3 million house,
Yeah.
beautifully decorated, and it just looks out of place. I
Mhm.
said, well, you know, I'm gonna send you the link to the website.
Send her over to Barney to take care
right,
of that, all right?
exactly.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
literally, I talked to a lady today. She's got a Sonos play bar, and I'm like, she goes, "I hate the look of that thing."
Yeah.
I said, "We've got the perfect solution. You know, a case with a perfectly matching, you know, grill cover that'll match your TV." She goes, "Oh yeah, that's what I need right there."
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
I can't imagine every Sonos soundbar being sold without a Leon
Oh
case.
my God, we have a whole factory, like, and we're good friends with the Sonos team. We love them as a business and a technology. Their products are incredible because they work forever and they have amazing, you know, style design. But sometimes, you know, you don't want to, when you're putting a giant TV in your home, you know, they look great, you know, next to smaller things. But like, you know, when you put a 75 or 85-inch TV and then you put a little sound bar, that's
Yeah. Oh, that
it,
drives me
Um,
insane.
yeah, it just
uh,
Hi.
and here's some other kind of interesting stuff from an artistic standpoint. A flat panel TV has a really interesting aspect ratio, which is called, so like, you know, people used to look, when you think about the golden ratio, it's 3 to 4. It's kind of like when you think about classic art. So when you put a Leon or when you do a customized speaker at the bottom of your TV, it turns that aspect ratio of a TV, which is kind of lean and narrow, into more of like a classic picture box. And your
Yeah.
mind and your eye settles on that.
Yes.
Right. So again, you're not noticing it, but you're like, oh, that's chill, that's relaxing. And this is
Well,
kind of,
your brain just said, "I'm happy."
I'm
Like
happy.
that's
Yeah.
happy to look at.
Yes. And it's such a
Unconsciously.
simple thing. It's so simple.
Yeah.
Go ahead, recite it. Yeah.
No, I just think that like in talking about this whole experiencing the technology and being happy, that's why this partnership between Barney Miller and
Yeah.
Leon Speakers is so beautiful, because that's really what that's what you guys do. You create experiences in someone's life, right? You're using technology to make their life better. through, you know, the different technologies, whether it's automation or it's sound. And Noah, you at Leon are just making what Barney does more beautiful. So
Thank
it's
you.
really, it's this beautiful marriage of
Thank you.
like you said, the tech and the design.
Yeah. Yeah. And Barney, I want to give Barney a chance because
Yeah, you're doing good.
I'm too chatty. I gotta listen to Barney. I'm here to
No, it's
listen.
okay.
I'm here to listen.
I was going to ask Barney if, you know, you had a particular customer for Leon, like when someone walks into your showroom or you guys go out to someone's home, you know, are you profiling them specifically? Like, is there a particular customer that belongs to Leon speakers? And what is your process once you start with that customer, you know?
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
customer-
Well, you know, many of our customers have custom type homes and they want it to look good, their interior to look good. So, you know, we've got a lot of examples on our showroom now from Leon speakers, and it looks like one of the hottest ones right now is a Horizon sound bar with a built-in amplifier and a custom matching grill. So we've got a display of an 85-inch TV on our showroom, and it sounds unbelievable. And, you know, a lot of things you put subwoofers with, this speaker doesn't even need a subwoofer. So you don't have to have a box in the room, and it sounds unbelievable. So that looks like that's going to be a super hot speaker for us. We've also got some profile speakers that are on the left and the right of a flat panel TV. And the way that Leon has these mounting brackets, the speakers always mount perfectly up next to the TV. So it looks like, you know, a complete product. It doesn't look like it's something that's added on. And these speakers can create a left, a right, and a center speaker out of two speakers. So it's pretty amazing. We showed a picture earlier of that frame bar, and we've done great with the frame TV. And this frame bar is just going to really take off for us. The TC Fit, which is a universal case for sound bars underneath TVs, which has a variable grill on it, is just has always been a popular speaker for us, or a popular product, I should say, and that continues to go. But as far as our customers, I think they want something that, you know, looks good, sounds good, and in our world also easy to work. You know, so we try to put a control system with just about everything we do, because we don't want people to have 4 or 5 remote controls on their coffee table. So it goes without saying, we want it to be easy to use and anybody in the family to use it. So looks good, sounds good, and easy to use. Those are the 3 key things that we work on. And we almost always go out to the house to do a site survey before, you know, we ever even recommend something. But we do like people to come into our showroom, because we invest a lot of time and effort and energy into our showroom and allow people to experience before they buy. You know, they're not just going on a website and looking here and looking there. But, you know, as far as Leon goes, they can customize just about anything. I mean, it's incredible what they do. So it's just a whole new way of life for us, as far as dealing with a company as fantastic as Leon, and the customization capabilities that they've got. Because in the years past, we're not really used to that with you know, the conventional speaker brands that we've carried over the many years of our company.
So we know that there's different grills and their coverings and so on, but what about the inner components of the speaker? How far do you go with customizing that, or customization?
Gotcha.
Kind of starts at the kind of look, the
Well,
design.
you know,
That's a good
maybe
question.
I'll let Noah touch on that a little bit, but they do sound fantastic. I mean, so
Thank you.
even though they make cases for Sonos speakers, they make some incredible speakers themselves, and with
Yeah, well,
great amplifiers too. So you know, that's really a good marriage for us.
And yeah, because I know Barney is super, you know, Barney has an amazing reputation, you know, for high quality sound products. So at Leon, so for us, we look at components, like the parts in a speaker are part of like the recipe. Like, so part of design has to be looking at every single detail of a speaker, from the components to the inner technology that makes them sound good. So we partner with a lot of companies globally to work, like we love the collaborative kind of arts. So when we're designing a speaker, you know, we're not just working with one person, one studio. We have our own sound labs. We have lots of acoustic engineers, electrical engineers working on the designs, but we try to make the speaker right for the space and the size. So we have over 20 different styles of just singular sizes of sound bars or speakers that match your TV, or speakers like architectural speakers, because depending on the size or scale of your room, you have to kind of scale up or scale down. You know, a lot of homes right now have, 18-foot, 16-foot ceilings, 24-foot ceilings. So you got to really have something powerful and clear to cut through in those kind of rooms. And then rooms have lots of reflective parts to them. What's cool about designing audio for televisions is they have really different applications for when you're using them. So we like to think, we like to create really natural sounding speakers, because a lot of what we do is we want the voice to sound perfect. Like this kind of interaction. So, when you're listening to dialogue on a TV show, on your favorite Netflix jam, or on a movie, we want you to hear every single sibilant style of sound that you can. And so we really focus on that. And then when we're mixing other kind of product lines in, how the amplification works, how the power, you could just think of like, it's like a lot, I think a lot of it like a light. So imagine you have a really small light with just a little power, it's going to be really kind of dim. If you want it to be kind of bright, you got to add more power, you got to add more size. And so I always kind of think of it in 3 dimensions when we're designing speakers. But I think it's super important to think of a speaker like almost like an instrument. You
Yes,
think, right?
yes,
Right. It's like,
definitely.
yeah, it's like a guitar. It's like, everything matters. Like the material the speaker's made of, what the material it's housed in, what is the wood sound, the tone of the wood. So we use a lot of tone woods when we're building because it adds character. A Fender guitar sounds different than a Gibson guitar because they use completely different kind of woods, tone woods, styles, finishes. And so I think that's the character of the speaker. And I think what I've learned over the years, what I love about building every single day in-house in America is that like the factory's right over there. We're literally working every single day. We're testing every single day. We're trying to make it better every single day. And that's the soul of the product. And I think that over the years, what we noticed back when we first started designing speakers, we felt like speakers were kind of losing their soul. Or like a lot of products were losing their soul. So they work really well, but they don't have a lot of character. So adding back those details, adding back those things. And so I can't wait, like the future, like sometimes you realize a whole new set of things that could change everything about all the speakers you ever built. And so we're open to that. We want to get better. We don't want to just be static. Like, so expect more from Leon's every year. Like there's going to be like more content. Like I'm adding some weird stuff into the new Leon's. So like there'll be like little unexpected artistic design that you'll like notice on Leon's like moving into the future. You'll be like, wait, why does it matter that it looks cool when you take the grill off? Right?
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's
design. I want it to be
Yeah.
like totally design friendly, even when it comes to that. Oops, you guys are frozen right now. I got you again.
Okay.
most people, don't realize how technical sound is.
Yeah.
And so, I like the comparison to lighting that you had mentioned before. Lighting is very technical, and in interior design, there's even such a thing as a lighting consultant, a
Yeah.
lighting and so I think of integrators as like technology designers. It's like, let's
Yes.
come and design the technology that is specific for your space that you're trying to,
That's what's cool about like, like Barney's team, even when we were working on his showroom, everybody there is thinking creatively, like, oh, well, let's create this vignette, let's create this vibe, let's create this experience. And so, yeah, what again, it really is a good fit for anybody in the arts or in the design world. And a lot of these guys came from, they're all music freaks and musicians. Barney, I'm sure, I know you had a history there,
Oh yeah, yeah.
right?
Love music for years, and so
Yeah.
yeah, just so into it. And again, your speakers sound fantastic. We've been very
Thank you.
impressed, and
Thank you.
yeah, we know it's a hot button.
Yeah, well, like we're working, like we work with the Norwegians on like when we're designing even the woofers and tweeters, like we like little pops, like so we put like little pops of copper in it. We use cool materials. We try to find like reclaimed or recycled stuff that we could reuse. We like to try all different kind of things when we're designing, but I also like just the thought of collaboration all the time. Starts, with all the components, and it goes into the end user's house, because that's even collaborative. Right to the time you're installing it, you're working with so many different contractors. And I think this industry is really unique, because sometimes we're like the last people in
Oh,
to
yeah.
a project, which is tough. So you're like, whoa, everything's kind of finished, and now we got to fish wires through your whole wall.
Ah,
Yeah.
no, sir.
Well, that's why we always encourage people to bring integrators like Barney in on the very early side of the project, so he can pre-wire and you guys can
Yeah.
work together to design the perfect space to fit
Yeah.
this technology and make it beautiful. So
For sure, Risa.
I want to do a little bit of a time check. We're starting to reach the end of our time. So there's a couple of things before we get to the chat. I know, Barney, I'm sure that your customer base is starting to now think about spring, right? The warm weather's coming. And I imagine that you're starting to do a lot of outdoor planning, for outdoor spaces. So I think that's a perfect opportunity. Noah, you have some exciting news to share, and you're going to hear it here first on Barney's
Yes.
Facebook Live event.
Yes.
Noah, tell us about this new outdoor speaker that you're about to launch.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely for spring. Like, we wanted to rethink how sound goes outside. And so our brand new product is called Lumen Sound, which, to Allison's point before, is combining light and sound into one product. And it's completely customizable as well. And when we're designing this is one of those objects you kind of want to blend in to your landscape. So they go super low to the ground, and they have this integrated kind of programmable halo light on them. So when you're thinking about designing outside, a lot of people, you spend your you think about your daytime to nighttime kind of vibe that you want. So I like having the light capability right in the speaker, because you could run it all with one single wire. So like you could design, around your entire pool side, or a pathway, or, right near your docks on the boat, by the boat. But when you put sound outside, it's just the right and most magical thing to do. It's one of my favorite things. Like, we have a sound system outside the whole factory, and I'll turn it on. And so at night, we have all the lights glowing. The sound is, and that means like, hey, there's life going on here.
Yes.
And listen, I love the sound of nature. That's cool too. But it's when it's time to entertain, you want to be able to entertain and go big. And I think it's just one of the most amazing things to add to a house, because it like just sets the landscape off in such a deep way.
You're getting lighting at the same time. I mean, some people get overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, I got to do lighting and I have to do sound. I mean, in some areas of your landscape, I think it's really cool to be able to have both.
Yeah. And it's like, it's
For one.
yes, it's a 2-for-1 kind of deal. And then you could maybe you want you want bronze, or you want copper, you want a different finish. So it has a special case around it that you could customize. And where we're going with this, like, we're going to move into more and more unique and sculptural kind of designs as we go into the future. So you'll see the basic, like, here's basic custom, it's more for blending in, but now we're designing more and more sculptural objects that will go into the landscape, because we want to create like a more magical vibe outside. Again, that's our main job.
I love that, a magical vibe. I think
Thank you.
that sort of sums up everything that you guys do together.
Thank you.
Create magical vibes in people's
Thank you.
houses. So
Thank
perfect.
you.
So
Thank
now, so we know, so if you're looking to put beautiful art and speakers in your home or outdoor, because Barney Miller's does indoor and outdoor audio and indoor and outdoor living, definitely stop by the showroom, because he has displays now, right? Barney, you have displays of the Leon speaker products, so your customers can come and experience.
Yes, we do. We've got several on display. We've got free parking at our back door on Water Street. We've got our own parking lot. We've got a vast, expansive showroom. We are thrilled to partner with Leon, and we just know it's going to be a very exciting future for both of our companies together. So I've got a very experienced staff Most of my guys have been with me for over 20 years, so they know this stuff backwards and forwards. And, we do all kinds of electronic systems for the home, and indoor and outdoor, as you suggested. And the probably the biggest growing area for us is outdoor entertainment. And
Yeah.
the last 4 or 5 years has just been incredible with that. So with TV, sound, networking, shades, all that. So we've got a lot to offer people. We're not just a TV store anymore. So it's a lot of cool stuff.
Well, hey, you got 99 years of experience, so I feel like, that says a lot, Barney.
We're going to figure this out sooner or later,
Yeah.
We're happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, the one thing that is evident is that Barney Miller embraces change.
Yes.
And Leon Speakers is all about change. So
Mhm.
that's a big connection.
It is. It's a good
is.
footing. So
It's one
really
way.
quickly before we
Yeah.
sign off, there were 2 questions in the chat that I want to ask. So this could really go to either of you, but I think Noah, someone is asking if they have their own artwork, a picture that they've done, can that be used for a cover for one of the TVs? So like in that media decor, can someone provide you with the art?
Absolutely, for sure. I would say almost 50% of all the work that we do for media decor is bespoke, or people's own artwork. I was even a commission. Remember, I was introduced to the company because I actually had to reproduce a painting by Toulouse-Lautrec. That was not that you couldn't license. So I actually did an original Toulouse-Lautrec reproduction for media decor. So yeah, we totally embrace people's art. We think it's super important to be like almost like a commission company. So like I was always a commission artist, and I still feel like that's the main ethos, is to allow people to commission a piece of art just for their home. And we definitely want them to be able to use their own art for sure.
Okay.
And so there's a couple of parameters. We need high quality, high resolution
Sure.
images, but we would work with anybody on that anytime to just like figure out how to get that done. Work
Okay.
with the designers.
Barney, they're going to come to you with their own art, maybe.
That's cool.
We
And
can
then-
handle that.
Yes. And Barney, someone asked the question of, if you're doing an in-family room sort of theater, right? Because the trend is now more towards multi-purpose rooms. Someone is asking if it would be better to use a standalone versus in-wall speakers in the family room.
We normally recommend standalone speakers. I think they're, acoustically slightly better, but there's some incredible in-wall and in-ceiling speakers that we sell nowadays. So, with proper back boxes and things like that, you can get very close to the same sound in-wall. And we've got a couple rooms that are all in-wall. There's nothing in the room. So we've got some very designer friendly rooms in our showroom that people can come sit in a theater chair and take a listen to. So we can go either way with it, but overall the ultimate high-end speakers that we sell are standalone speakers, but some amazing ceiling and in-wall speakers that we sell, and in-wall subwoofers also.
Okay, perfect. Well, it sounds like in order to really experience, and I know this, and I tell people all the time, it goes back to the experience. Somebody could tell you about the sound, but sitting in your showroom and actually feeling the music, right? Being in one of your theaters, and as something is moving in the movie or in the music, you hear it traveling around the room. So we definitely encourage everybody to stop by Barney Miller's showroom and check out all this cool technology that he has, and check out the new Leon speaker line that he has there. And yes, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey,
Barney. Yes, we're all doing the right thing. Hey, it's 8:00. Come on.
Yes, we have happy hour conversations about art and tech. We love that.
That's right.
So, well, thank you guys again so much. I'm going to really quickly share my screen so that if anybody wants to reach out to Barney directly, or if you want to reach out to Noah, I have a contact slide. If you want to contact any of us via email. And after that, we will sign off.
Anytime. Risa, I want to thank you. Barney, I want to thank you. Allison, I want to thank you. Loved your thoughtful questions, and love to be a part of your showroom, Barney. It's an honor. And to everybody else who was watching, thank you guys out there.
I just want to say thank you very much. we're very proud to be partnering with Leon Speakers, and Reese and Allison. You guys do a great job, so we really do appreciate you.
Thank you. So,
Cheers, guys.
Good night, guys.
so good
Good
night,
night.
and stay tuned, everyone. Coming up in May, we'll have another Facebook Live event with Barney Millers. So stay tuned for that information. So thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.